Hello and welcome to Get Into Games on Air, a podcast about board games and the people who play them. My name's Craig, aka Get Into Games on all those Instagram machines, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hostess with the most SS, Mrs. Get Into Games.
That's nice.
Don't get used to it.
Okay.
Good.
But I'll enjoy it while...
Yeah. It's
Right.
because it's almost Valentine's Day.
Oh, and my birthday.
Yeah, and don't worry, I'll be buying you your normal Valentine's Day gift of
Of
flowers. Yeah, plain and self-raising.
No word of a lie, that actually happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hello, this is episode 5.
Bye.
This episode's titled Our Top 10 at 5. Yes.
We should have done top 5, really.
Probably. We have been scouring Pub Meeple, that wonderful website, putting in our entire collection into the Board Game Geek website. Board game collection into the you've been putting our entire collection into the Board Game Geek website so we could run a ranking on board. What did I call it? Pub Meeple. That's him. That's the badger. And we ran all of our games, 1,140 something matches to get a definitive top 10 of the greatest games ever made ever. Anything below 10, just trash, just a trash game.
In our opinion.
not even worth buying. I mean, our opinion is valid. The listeners, the people on the other end of the internet here are listening because they know how valid our opinions. How influential. So that's me as an influentialer.
To be fair, I'm surprised I'm still alive after last time.
I've got a repetitive strain injury. My hand is hurting from pressing buttons constantly. But yeah, I am surprised that no one's the mob of fans of
didn't come after
games have not been after you and with a pitchfork and torch. But this is the longest intro in the world. Okay. So in today's episode, we are going to tell you about what has hit our table this week, be it not a huge amount, but some. We are then going to go into what is our top 10 board games of some of all the time.
Some all the time.
Some of all the time. Is it all the time? Who knows? With some caveats, but we'll get into that later. And then we'll read a few board game menus. And we'll bid you adieu at that point, probably, and let you go on with the rest of your lovely day. I'm sure you're having a wonderful day, whatever time of the day you're listening to this, whether you're going home, whether you're in a lunch break, whether you're opening a shop, whether you're driving a long drive, listening to our dulcet tones. So why not let everyone know what we've been playing this week?
So Alana wanted to play some more of Miller Zoo, so we played a bit of that.
Yeah, really enjoy that. It's a really nice family weight legacy style game, which has got infinite replayability as well, because you can just play
which is really difficult.
It is
because we haven't been able to do it yet. We played a couple of games of Quixo. I'd played this with Alana at the little
games.
Con, and then we bought it home, and we played a couple of games of that.
Yeah, it's like noughts and crosses, but 5 in a row, and yeah, it's really interesting. Almost dice game, but not.
Yeah, we played 2 games of Blood on the Clock Tower with our friends.
Always good.
We played, I'm not sure it's played. We experienced, we puzzled, I don't know, with the Dimensions.
Yeah, Mystery Package Co.
Yeah.
Sent us a copy of the Dimensions escape room kind of style game, which is like
really
a book.
Cool.
It's like a 3D open like puzzle book, and you have to like build a house, and it's really really good, really exciting.
Yeah, I just posted about it today because sometimes, like with the exit games, the puzzles are too hard sometimes, and you have to go to the hints, and then you'll have other like escape rooms where the puzzles are too easy, and this sort of was hard enough that you had to puzzle over it, but you could get there in the end. It was
I find sometimes the exit games are a bit like difficult for the sake of being difficult, which isn't always.
But I'm enjoying it, and it's really well presented. There's a little magnifying glass. The whole thing turns into a house.
Yeah, production's really good.
There's little puzzles to try and figure out. It's cool. It's cool. I'm looking forward to doing the other. We've done one. I think there's 3 more, and then there's like the end.
Yeah. I think there's
scenario.
5 kind of things.
We played a new. Is it Helvetica?
Yeah, Helvetica. Yeah,
A game called Onin, which is it just makes me laugh. This game.
It's really silly. It's really hard to kind of explain. I made a post about it.
It's like a numbers card game, but you can put 1 card down, and if somebody else has put 1 card down, then you can put 1 card down that's higher, or you can put 2 cards down. And then if somebody's put 2 cards down, you can put 3 cards down. But they have to all be the same colour, unless they're different numbers.
Same colour, same numbers or same colour, but also when you put 2 cards, so you could play a 9, and then you could play a 2 and a 5. No, let's say a 5 and a 5 or something like that. And that wouldn't be 10, that would be 55.
Yeah, and then the next person puts down 871.
Yeah, it's just
and it just makes me laugh. I don't know why.
numbers. It's just really silly. It's quite a bit of strategy. There's quite a bit of luck, which I can imagine people not enjoying so much, but it is quite strategic. Yeah, it's silly. It's fun.
So they were the games we played in the week, and then so it was our daughter's 4th birthday today, and we took them to soft play, and we managed to take some games with us. So we played Sea Salt and Paper.
Yes, with extra salt.
Yes, which is always fun. We played 2 episodes of My City Roll and Build.
Yep.
And
that never gets old, that game. It's really good.
And we played Zuli, which is nice, because we don't always play that, but it's quite a nice one to take out.
Yeah.
It's quite a small box.
It's quite puzzly. You get quite a lot of game in it.
And then when we came home, birthday girl thought it would be appropriate to play Ganshong Clever Kids, which was cool.
Because it's all about having a birthday party and setting up a birthday party. So that's
which
good.
She loved, and she won by quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then we played Dodo, which we won.
Yep.
Which was good. And then we played Suro.
Yeah.
So that was our gaming plays this week.
Yeah. Not too many, but
I would say I'm quite enjoying, after last year where we had to play a game every day, I'm quite enjoying playing some games and then having some free time to do other bits and pieces and not feeling like you have to play a game each day.
Yeah.
It's just quite nice, because I did feel last year, oh my gosh, we haven't played a game, we must play a game.
And then we just throw anything on like BGA just to kind of put something in, or a really quick card game just to play a game for the sake of playing a game, not
whereas it
wanted to.
Yeah, it feels like we're playing a game when we want to play a game. And I think we are trying to play some of our older games as well and not forget those. So. Oh, I forgot one.
What did we forget?
Expeditions. We played that with
we did,
Beardy Games.
With Andy, from
at
Beardy Games. We played Expeditions. That was really good. 3-player game, 3-player version of Expeditions.
Yeah, and it totally changed my
opinion
on the game.
Yeah, it's really good. I think it does work really well with more. I do enjoy it that it works with 2 so well, but with 3 it blocks out that extra place.
Yeah.
And I like, we're going to try it, I think, at some point with a D20, and so you can roll it and just put a mech, whatever number it rolls, put a mech on that hex, so it just blocks it off for us. So without having to use like an AI 3rd player, we can just put a mech on it just to block a space for us to see how that plays. Just because I think the blocking is quite interesting, it's quite fun.
Yeah. It's definitely one that's grown on me. I didn't love it at the start. I think it's because it's got the Scythe skin, and I was expecting it to be more like Scythe. There are elements of Scythe, but it's its own game, and I think once I got over that, I think I really started to enjoy it. And definitely the game we played with Andy secured for me the fact that it's a really good game.
Yeah.
And I think I prefer it at a higher player count, but it is a firm favourite now.
Yeah,
I think
it could have any skin on it. It's just Jamie's just chosen Scythe.
Yeah,
because it'll do a big sell,
which works, and it's pretty.
That's true. So you put all of our games onto Board Game Geek.
I did.
All 26 of them.
No, so Well, I decided to start the list again because we already had them listed on Board Game Geek on your profile, but I figured it was easier to just load them all up than try and figure out which ones were and which ones weren't.
Yeah, because we'd culled, hadn't we, in amongst the times
I think the list was a bit out of date. So I did that, but it's surprising how many boxes you can hide behind boxes. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm nearly done. And then realised that all the lower shelves on the Kallax actually have loads of hidden games behind them. So that took longer. So we worked out we have in the house, I think, if we got them all, about 325 games.
Yeah, which makes me think that what's really good idea. Look, this is, bear with me.
Okay.
How about we rent them out to our friends? So we could get like games, and we could say to people, "Oh, have you tried this one?" And then they'll say, "No." We can rent them.
How about
Mm-hmm.
we keep all our games ourselves
Right.
because we like them. That's
Okay.
why they're in our house.
Okay, I'm confused.
And we convince all our friends to sign up to Rent, Shuffle and Roll.
Sorry, who?
Rent, Shuffle and Roll.
Yeah, but how are we possibly going to get people to sign up to someone like Rent, Shuffle and Roll without like offering them a perk, like a discount code?
Well, there is.
Sorry, what?
So they sponsor us.
What?
And Rent, Shuffle and Roll let you rent any of their 1,000 games on a monthly basis so you can try before you buy or get access to a rolling selection of new games every month.
Rent, Shuffle and Roll?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you're feeling mysterious, you could take a look at their new Mystery Vault selection and see what you can solve. Use code GITG50 to support the show and get 50% off your first month.
So what, we get our friends just to go to rentshuffleandroll.co.uk?
Yes.
Use the code GITG50?
Yes.
And then they get 50% off their first month using the rental service from Rent, Shuffle and Roll.
Yeah, and we get to keep all our own games.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in the market to try before you buy, head over to rentshuffleandroll.co.uk and use the code GITG50 to get yourself 50% off your first month. And also help this little podcast a little bit too. So thanks very much, Rent, Shuffle and Roll, for being a sponsor of our podcast.
Yay!
Now, on with the show. I said that like there was a cut between an edit. It makes it, because people say that sometimes when they do an ad read. Not that we have an ad read, because I don't know what that means.
Okay. No.
But I made it sound like we did a really cool edit and a cut, and they won't know. I mean, I'm not going to cut this out either.
Okay. Right, so shall we get on with it?
Let's get on with it. What are we doing?
Well, I thought we were doing our top 10.
Let's do our top 10s. Shall we talk about caveats? Are we caveating?
We are caveating.
We love a caveat.
I like saying the word caveat.
I like caviar. Is it like caviar? Caveat?
Caveat sounds like cat. Caveat.
Caveat. Speaking of cat into games,
oh yeah,
it's a real hit at the moment.
I'm a little bit worried that the cat is going to get more followers.
The cat is lying down at the moment, down by my feet.
He was very interested in it a minute ago.
He did want to be on the podcast, but he's decided that sleep is better, and arguing with me about his second breakfast. So speak to me about these caveats that we speak of.
I made a little error.
I wouldn't say error.
So I included, when we were doing the pub meeple ranking, Ticket to Ride Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a discussion afterwards about whether that's...
whether legacy games should really be in our top list. Because if you think Pandemic Legacy, if you think Ticket to Ride Legacy, they were amazing experiences. They were amazing games as the legacy. But when you re-get that game to the table, Pandemic, for example, you can never play again. So essentially you're ranking Pandemic rather than Pandemic Legacy. Ticket to Ride, yeah, you can play Ticket to Ride Legacy forever after you finish playing the game. Spoiler alert. However, which I think everyone knows anyway, so it's not a spoiler. However, at that point, it becomes playing Ticket to Ride, not playing Ticket to Ride Legacy. So the experience of those legacy games would put them ridiculously high on the list, but they're high for that reason.
So my
10.
Sorry, counting. Ticket to Ride Legacy came out as number 8 on my list.
Yeah.
But you're right in that my brain is thinking the Legacy overall and not the game that I can replay over and over again. And I think Ticket to Ride would be lower. Now, we haven't played the Ticket to Ride game that's left.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I've taken that out and I've moved number 11 up to number 10.
Yeah. I Yep. And what I'm taking great credence in is that
Credence.
yes.
Is that the right word?
I don't know, but I'm right. That's what I heard. I heard at 9:30 in the evening, as recording, that I was right about something. So I'm going to take that to the grave, and I was right, everyone.
And I'm the hostess with the mostest, so that was good too.
Well, I can edit
We're
that.
both winning.
No one knows. Okay, then. Who's to go first?
So we're starting with number 10 and going backwards, yeah?
I think that's probably good.
Okay.
That's how you do a countdown. Otherwise, it's a count up. Everyone, this is our least favourite of the 10 games. I bet you'd be so excited. Because everyone wants to know you're number 1 and they just switch off.
Okay.
I mean, no one
all
needs to
right.
know my
All right. It's
number
been
1.
a long day. It hasn't. Okay. Shall I go first?
You should go first.
My number 10, having been moved up from number 11,
Nice.
is the ART project, which I really love. It's cooperative game about getting art pieces.
Yeah, art theft. There's art thieves, and you're trying to rescue, trying to get 6 or so crates before you lose cities, or and trying to defeat the White Hand.
Limited resources, and you have to manage how you're going to place your cards. And I just really like it, and it's a fairly small box with quite a lot going on. So there's several maps you can do. 6
maps in the box.
I think we've only tried 2 or 3 of them at the minute.
It's so good.
You can play it on like easy mode, medium mode, hard mode.
Scales really well at all player counts.
Yeah, it's really like, I know you were really excited about getting it. You played it at UKGE and said we must get this as soon as it came out, and I was like, maybe, but it's really good. I really enjoy it, and it's quite a nice one if you've got some people coming around and you want to introduce them to games, because you can sort of teach them as you play. It's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Vincent Dutrait art, so it's just going to be incredible. It's so good.
Is it on your list?
It is on my list. It will be popping up on my list at some point. Indeed. But yeah, my is that good? Yep. Yeah. Oh, so my one bugbear with that game is that in the ART project, in that acronym, the A stands for art, which is really annoying because the acronym shouldn't be the word. Anyway, as we continue.
Really, that's the thing that sets you off, is it? Oh my goodness!
That's the thing that puts it in the position it is. So sorry.
That's why it dipped on your list.
That's where it dipped down. That's why it was your number 11 originally.
Oh yeah.
My number 10 has artwork by Vincent Dutrait.
I think you might be obsessed.
Is designed by Florian Sirier as well, and it is After Us.
Ooh.
After Us is a really quick-paced resource management, deck building, race to 80 points, where you're building a tribe of apes. You're trying to shift out your little monkeys that you have at the start, get more powerful apes, use gorillas to rage and get rid of the weaker apes, and score more points with the different types of apes, basically. Planet of the Apes, the board game, but it's just so quick. And the thing is, it's one of those ones that I find that's quite complex to explain when you're trying to teach it at first. But when you get going, you've had 2 rounds, you're like, what was difficult about explaining this game? It's so quick, especially because it's all simultaneous play. Everything happens at the same time. So it is fast.
I
Yeah.
would just say don't play it on BGA as your first game of it. Do you remember the game we played
Oh yeah.
with
It was with Nick and Shelley, I
yeah,
think.
with
Yeah.
Nick and Shelley, and we were like literally just pressing buttons. We had no
No idea
clue
what we
what
were
was
doing.
going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. But it's yeah, it's so good, and
It was
it feels of like for me, it feels that kind of. It's got that space vibe, space base vibe. That's what I meant.
that's
Tried to
not
say.
what came out.
So lots of. It's late and it's been a long day. You said that
Space
earlier.
Vape.
By the
Space
way,
Vape is
I
what it
was
was.
right. Okay. But yeah, it feels that space base void.
That's really hard to say.
It's
Space.
really difficult.
What? Space void.
Yeah, don't say it, everyone. Don't say it. Don't do that. Yeah, because we don't own that game, but it feels like that kind of race to
We
points
own
that you
After
get
Up.
with the spacing and the basing. But one day I'll get that game. It'd be fun.
It was number 13 on my list, so it wasn't too
But that's
far off from
okay.
you. My number 9 is Scythe.
Okay.
I think that the best game of it we've had is 5-player game of it. Again, it's not one that hits the table very often, but every time you play it, it's a good time. It's a great game. I just love it. It's really cool.
Good. Well, there you go. That's the Scythe. Yeah, I think when talking about Scythe, it's Scythe. Have you heard of Scythe? Oh yes, everyone's heard of Scythe.
I think it's just the different objectives that you can achieve. You don't have, not everybody has to be doing the same thing. It's not like overly like things like route and things. It's about fighting. You don't have to get involved in the fighting. There's lots of other routes to getting the little stars, aren't there? And I just like the the variety of ways you can get to the win condition.
Yes. My number 9.
Yes.
Is a new game. Ish. It's a 2023 release game. And it shot up the list quite quickly, and it is Distilled by Pavison Games. Distilled it's just really good. There's something about it that's really enjoyable about getting the ingredients together, choosing the ingredients, shuffling those cards, taking the top card and the bottom card off the deck, trying to make your brew. If you've made your whiskey or you've ended up making moonshine, it's that kind of mix of, oh no, I've messed up my ingredients, I've messed up my mix. Being able to build your warehouse to make like better quality drinks, buying bottles to get extra types of bonus points based on the bottles that you're bottling your alcohol in, and that sort of thing. And then there's a set collection of the bottles as well that you're getting, so you get points if you have sets of bottles, points of barrels, all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of cool ways to score. Really enjoy that game. Every game we've played has been a lot of fun. I just really like it. I think it's really good. There's a lot of different menus as well to make. There is a little expansion that we don't have yet, but I'd be tempted to get it. And I know there's a new expansion coming out for it soon as well. Yeah. Let's brew in Distilled.
My number 8 is a puzzle tile laying game with a Lazy Susan. And if it didn't have the Lazy Susan, I'm not sure whether it'd be so cool, but I do love it. Is Planet Unknown. I like that kind of tile laying game where you're trying to fit things together. You've got your little rovers that you have to move around and try and collect the meteorites and things. As you move up the board, you can get smaller pieces to fill in. You get little civ cards. And again, with that, there's a lot of replayability because there's lots of boards and different planets that you can play on. You can have asymmetric planets, or you can have the same planet as everybody else. It's just good.
It's really good. I'm surprised that wasn't in my top 10. Like,
is it not in
on
your
the
top
rankings?
10?
It was my number 13. I'm shocked. I would have thought that was kind of was going to beat a lot of stuff out, but for some reason it didn't. I really like Planet Unknown. I do like the asymmetric boards, but I think the asymmetric boards are probably better for solo because they can be really unbalanced. I think some of them are really hard and corporations are really hard to use. And I think a lot of asymmetry, unbalancing within asymmetry comes from not knowing how to use like in Root, not knowing how to use the faction, like in Lost Ruins of Arnak, knowing how to use the leader. But there feels like there's some really difficult things. Like one of the planets, you have to slide the polyominoes straight in. You can't move, like you can't slot them in. You have to be able to slide them in, and that just makes the game like the planet is Planet Tetris, and it's really hard because you just have to slide the thing, and that's not always possible.
But I always play that game kind of solo anyway. Yes, you're playing competitively, but you're trying to fill your board as best you can, and it doesn't really matter who wins at the end because I find it's about the puzzle that you're doing on your board, and you can have your own success in sorting out your planet without worrying about what the other person's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not super competitive anyway, but...
No, but I agree with that. There is a very solo nature to it, and you just want to try and beat your own score in that way. The only kind of interaction is the Lazy Susan. You turn it away, or you turn it to get your piece on the board, which is fair enough. My number 8 is Scythe, which is actually lower than I thought it was going to be as well, to be honest. I think before it might have been like my number 4 or 5.
It's been usurped.
It's been usurped, but it actually hasn't been usurped by much that's particularly new since I last did this.
No.
I think I last did it 2 years ago.
Maybe our tastes have changed a little.
But I really like Scythe. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, I don't think, again, like we said, nothing really needs to be said about Scythe. I think most people listening to this will know what Scythe is. It's not a war game, but I'll make it like one if I get a chance. It's really good fun. And there's so many ways to win, so many different tactics and strategies to play it. And again, asymmetrical factions, but they don't feel unbalanced in any way. I know there are some like factions that seem OP, but
they've sorted that out mostly because they say you can't play as these.
Yeah, but I mean, I think people think that like the Rusviet faction's really overpowered, but then there's that other faction that can just walk on water basically from the beginning, and that feels like pretty powerful to me. So that was that.
My number 7. I just love this game. It reminds me of my childhood a lot because I used to collect teapots and teaspoons and tea memorabilia, and my parents took me to a tea museum, and I was a bit obsessed by it all and did a little tea project, and the game is Chai.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the production on this one, the little cups that you get, the tea tokens with the black tea and the green tea and the different rooibos tea and stuff, and the artwork on the cards where you've got like Captain Picard. It is Captain Picard.
It's Captain Picard, and you got
drinking tea,
Gandalf, and
there's just lots of little like Easter eggs in the pictures, and it's just when you get it out on the table, it's just beautiful. And I do love it.
It's really nice, and it's just a shame that Steep Games are a dumpster fire of a company.
I can't say that. There's nothing wrong with that.
You can if they've not funded a Kickstarter campaign for 4 years and taken everybody's money for granted and not delivered anything. So I do apologise for that, but it's also not me. Chai is a fantastic game. Chai for me is somewhere, but it is somewhere. Where is it gone? I don't know. It's on there, but I really like Chai. Chai is it's a fantastic game, and that's a shame that such a good game has come from life.
Craig, don't be rude.
Here's my tea. My number 7 is Raiders of the North Sea.
Oh, this was number 17 for me.
Wow.
I do like
it. To me, it's a really good entry into worker placement. I love the mechanics of it. It's so simple to pick up. There's a deck building element to it. There's a really nice worker placement engine. If you put a worker down, pick a worker up, and gain those 2 benefits. go off and explore, potentially lose a weaker worker, gain a stronger worker, but then that stronger worker can be given to somebody else.
The different colours are more powerful.
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah,
So
yeah.
like the black ones are, and then you've got the white
The
ones, the
white ones
grey
and the grey ones, and the grey ones unlock different buildings that they can get different benefits and stuff like that. It's just really cool. The cards have a discard action as well as a play action. There's lots of little unique features. There's apparently the expansions are really good for it. I've not played them myself, but we don't own them, but
like we've got Viscounts and Wayfarers,
yeah,
and they're both good, but they don't come to the table as much because they're quite complex, I think, in rule set. And Raiders it makes sense. We know how to set it up. It's just get it out and go.
Yeah, it's a satisfying game to get to the table and play, and I think that's why I just like it so much, because I don't think there's a time that I would ever really say, "Oh, I don't fancy it," because it's not that taxing. It's just something that you can just play. I don't need to get really deeply involved in it.
Right, I think you're going to disagree with me here.
Okay.
My number 6 is, and I'm sure it's much higher up your list.
Maybe.
Is Everdell.
Okay.
Obviously it's a really good game. I think it's not higher up my list. I don't know. Maybe if I cooled on it a little bit. I mean, we've got so many versions of it. And I think Partial was quite high up. I can't quite find where it is now. But it wasn't that high. It was number 40. But I like how it looks on the table. I like the tableau building. I mean, the production on the berries and the what was it, amber, slate or whatever
the resin and the stone and the twigs
are really cool. It's always very satisfying to play. Like if you say, "Should we play Everdell?" I'm like, "Yeah," straight away.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I think a feeling that a game can give you can really override how it plays.
I think that's not higher up because I don't feel like it's that complex. Doesn't require me to. The brain power doesn't require me to think of a strategy that much. It's basically based on which cards you get and then trying to find the best complement of those cards. But I don't find it that taxing. I think some of the games that are higher up have more strategy, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my number 6 is a game that we have spoken about already a little bit, and it is Expeditions. It's really good. I am genuinely surprised that it's higher than Scythe. I don't know whether that's more of a recency bias, the fact that we've played it more recently than Scythe and it's newer. But there is something that I genuinely really enjoy about how the game plays, how you develop your player board, how you combo up that sort of stuff, how you build your deck, how you explore, how you gather resources, and the resources are workers, and then how you defeat corruption and claim extra victory points that way. And again, there's the 4 stars, the multiple ways of placing stuff. But what I really like, actually, a bit more than that happens with Scythe, is to put the stars on the board. You have to go to specific locations. So where on Scythe I've completed my last star, put it straight on the board. You can complete your last star and then have to find or go to that spot,
or
to place your star.
Someone just sits there where you need to go,
or someone just sits where you need to go and doesn't let you go there because they know you need to go there, and that's naughty.
That is naughty,
but it's fun. It makes me happy. It's good. I'm looking forward to the expansion at some point in this year.
My number 5 is Lost Ruins of Arnak. I love this game. I like discovering the creatures and moving up the research track and managing your resources. I love the way it looks on the table. I just love it. I love it. It's just, I don't know, it gives me happy feelings. I prefer playing it in real life because I'm more likely to win. Because you always seem to win when we play on BGO. Now we've got the insert for it. It's much easier to set up. I'm not so fussed about the expansions. I'll play the base game. I might play with a different character, but I'm happy with the base game. Where was it on your? Oh, is it higher up?
So my number 5 is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh, we got it the same.
Because it's Expeditions. It's the same game.
But I was going to talk about it. Yeah. Can I talk about it now?
Because you just spoke about it. Yeah, Lost Ruins of Arnak is just great. And it's that exploration, uncovering new things, gathering resources, having limited workers to be able to place. The Leaders expansion just adds a real level of complexity and difference to the way you play, the style that you play, what you're doing. It's really good.
So my number 4 is Expeditions.
Yeah.
And I think that you're right. I think that Lost Ruins and Arnak... I just made up a new name.
Cool.
Lost
Same as
Ruins of Arnak and Expeditions could be either way round. But I think that Expedition edges it because there's just a bit more strategy. I don't know. Like, there's a bit more going on. It's a bit more...
There's a little bit less luck in Expeditions than there is in Lost Ruins of Arnak. It does require you turning over a Guardian and having those resources.
Yeah.
Whereas you can plan ahead with Expeditions.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I would say that my opinion on Expeditions has changed since we played the 3-player game. Or maybe it's just because I'm becoming more familiar with it. So there is that, what did you call it?
Recency bias.
Recency. I nearly called it Regency.
Oh, Regency. Oh, that's even posher. I like that.
Recency.
Let's do that.
Bias.
Is that like the vibe?
But I think, either of those could be in those spots. And I think maybe another year it would just depend. But
yeah, so you had 5 and 4 and I had 6 and 5 of those two games.
What was your number 4?
My number 4 is just pushing up all the Stonemaier games here. Is Viticulture.
Oh.
Viticulture is pretty much, dare I say, the perfect worker placement game. There may be a worker placement game slightly higher on my list. But no, maybe. But Viticulture genuinely is probably the most perfect pure worker placement game there is. Like, just how everything develops, getting more little workers on, playing workers to grow crops, harvest, do all of those things. Just the way it all just works so well. It's just so good. It's so satisfying. The cards, the card play, all of that stuff, and it smells so good. The smell of that game, my gosh! Every time I open that box, it's like, you get this waft. It's just incredible. Like, if you're listening to this and you're near your Calyx, grab open your Viticulture box, and just have a big old sniff. Big old sniff. It's the nicest. Those cards smell so good.
Okay. While he gets over the smell,
I'm just going to grab my copy of Viticulture. Hold on.
My number 3 is your number 9. It's Distilled. For me, this is a great game. I don't know whether it's because when we were younger, you were into beer and...
When I was 12.
Oh, not that much younger, but like a lot of our younger life, perhaps before we had children, involved tasting beers and going on brewery tours and things like that.
Rest in peace, Witchwood.
So that sort of theme, I know it's not beer, it's, spirits. That sort of theme really grabs me. It's just a very enjoyable game. Like you said, the topping and tailing of the cards, that's quite a nice thing that I've not seen in other games. The little tokens with the spirits on are really neat. It's got a lovely insert.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah, its production's out of this world. I would kill for a beer version, like craft beer version.
Yeah.
It would be so good. Like you have stouts and sours and
Make
barley
it.
wines and Trappist
Oh, that'd
beers,
be
and
cool.
it would be incredible. Do it,
It's very
Paverson
good
Games.
game.
I know you're listening. If they're not.
It's very good game.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. Really, really is good. My number 3 is, we've spoken about this one already as well. Is your number
10.
10, 11. It's the Art Project. If you were gonna say you wanted to play a cooperative game, it's my go-to game. Now, I would originally have said Pandemic.
Do you want to play a cooperative game?
Yes, please. Let's play kites.
Wait, that's not how you're supposed to go.
I just think it's incredible. It's so simple to teach, but so like that negotiation, but with negotiation with limited communication.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to make sense. It doesn't sound like that would work, but you have to play your cards. You have to know the order of which you all play your cards. It's just,
very
there's
tight
so
as
many
well.
good thoughts. There's so many. Yeah, it's so tight as far as resources. If you're playing at higher player counts, do you move you burn through the deck quicker? So it's much harder. And you have to really split up as a team and go and fight crime around. I
like cooperative games that aren't easy. Like, it's not easy.
No. Again, this is one of the ones that was bandied around family weight, and then everyone kind of went, oh, but I like my cooperative games difficult, not family weight. But family weight can be the rules of family weight. The complexity is not.
Yeah.
It's still difficult to win.
Yeah.
Just because it's family weight doesn't mean it's kid friendly and a 6-year-old could play it, because they can't. I mean, they could try. Our 9-year-old plays it, and we lose just as well
all the time.
Yeah, but that's part of.
But that's what makes you keep coming back, right? The fact that you lose and you have to go again.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, 6 maps in the box, like you barely, and then multiple difficulty levels, like have different levels of lives, and it doesn't become boring. There's a million ways to play it. You can make it
harder, or you can make it easy.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that everyone tries it, plays it. Just, it's so good. Get a copy.
My number 2.
Your number 2
used to be my number 1.
Used to.
But it's been knocked off the top spot, as it were. But it is Viticulture. I think, I'm not sure, you might be able to correct me.
Yes.
That Viticulture was our first Stonemaier game.
I will be able to correct you.
Oh, was it not?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, you're correct.
And I also think it was one of the first heavier games that we played. Because I remember getting the rules out, and the first game we played, it took us absolutely hours, because we were like, what are you supposed to do? And when are you supposed to do that? And how does that work? It took ages. And then the second time we played it, we were like, oh, right. Oh, that's much easier than we thought. We overcomplicated it.
Yeah, because I remember everyone was sort of talking about it and saying it's great. And I really enjoyed worker placement as a mechanic. And I got it for my birthday one year. And I remember us getting it, and I think you were kind of like, really? Really?
I like the theme, though.
The theme, yeah, but like, really? Oh, it looks like that, and then it just didn't click, and now it's sort of, you can play it blindfolded.
Oh, yeah. But it is really tight with resources and where you can go, and you can only do limited things in the summer and then the winter, and with the visitor cards, and I love every game we play of it. Like, it doesn't even matter what the score is, really. I like trying to achieve the 20.
Yeah.
20,
and
25.
Should we get controversial? You don't need Tuscany. Ooh, he just said it. He said the thing. He said the thing. I don't know.
I just like playing the normal version.
Yeah, Tuscany's got some good things going for it.
I'm not overly in love with is Tuscany the one with the area control? I don't
That's
love that
Tuscany's.
bit.
The board's got the area control. The wake up chart is 4 sections.
Yeah.
They've straightened everything on the board,
Oh no,
so it
I
doesn't
like
look
it
messy.
looking like an actual.
Yeah, so it's all straight on the board, and you've got the structures which don't necessarily add much. I don't mind the event kind of what those extra workers. I think there's some really good things in there, but I don't think it's essential. Like because everyone, whenever you see someone go, "I've just got viticulture," on Instagram, every time you see someone has posted, "I've just got this for Christmas" or "just got this for my birthday," whatever. I can tell you about a million comments underneath that will be, "You need to get Tuscany." Oh, you need to get to. You
But I
don't
think
need
sometimes
to.
like I said about Lost Ruins of Ark, sometimes the base game is just enough. It is perfect enough without all of the added.
Yeah. The essential edition that you can buy now has aspects from Tuscany that weren't in the original version of Viticulture.
That's what
So
we've got.
that's the thing. I think that's why people are very much get Tuscany because they're not because a lot of those people were early adopters that got it early and they didn't have the mamas and
Well,
puppies
that's
and that
fair
sort of
enough.
stuff,
Yeah.
which is just fine. And with Viticulture World as well, it just makes that game so good.
I love everything viticulture.
Okay, my number 2.
Boo.
Yes, is rubbish because Becky booed it. She said it is rubbish.
I just know it should be at the top.
My number 2 is at number 2 probably for the same reason that yours is at number 1.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly. My number 2 is Blood on the Clock Tower. Blood on the Clock Tower is the best social deduction game I've played. Dare I say?
Have you played many social deduction
better than
games?
Cheese Thief, that's for sure. It is. If you don't know what Blood on the Clock Tower is, it is Werewolf Mafia
Where have you
on
been?
steroids. I won't talk about it too much.
I might.
Exactly. That's why I might not. I think it's number 2 for me, mainly because it's probably getting the opportunity to play it. Maybe. Also, for me, most of the time I storytell it. But it's just I don't know. It's number 2 for me.
You just love something else more.
I do love something else more. Something makes me happier, which I'll go into. I'll speak about that more later too. But yeah, anyway, you go over to your number 1 because I think it's probably worthwhile.
Well, my number 1 is Blood on the Clock Tower because
Okay.
I love it. It's hard to describe. Right? I was talking to you about this in the car.
Yes.
Earlier. Sometimes you love this game. Sometimes you hate this game. Which would be strange why it's at number 1. I think it's about the stories that it creates and the memories it creates. Like I can remember when we played certain games, then when we come back to play again, in our group we talk about those games. There's like a common theme, and if you play it enough with the same people, there's a what's the word? There's a bit of a
Meta,
yeah. If anybody said to me though, so it came down to if somebody said this game, would you like to play Blood on the Clock Tower or something else? I will always jump at the opportunity to play Blood on the Clock Tower because you can't just play it whenever you want. So like Viticulture, I could play whenever I wanted to. But Blood on the Clock Tower, I've got to wait for 6 other people to want to play the same game. So I'm going to always choose it over something else if I can.
Yeah. So like if there was a game day meet up and we had 5 people who wanted to play Viticulture and there was 7 people who wanted to play Blood on the Clock Tower, you'd go with the Clock Tower because you can play Viticulture pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I do love it. There are some days I hate it, but that keeps me going back because then I want to play a better game of it. And yes, sometimes I'm in a bad mood over it because I like to play certain characters, and some characters for me are better than others. But I enjoy it bringing people together. And I enjoy the fact that we now play with a core group of people who continue to play, and we've got to know people better, and we play with one of our really old friends who otherwise we wouldn't see very much, and we can play it online, which is good when we've got the kids in bed. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a level of it gives you it's a really good game that gives you great memories to have. I think there's there's times when it's more difficult to get on with. I think sometimes you, as someone who story tells it a lot, I think for me sometimes it's difficult to kind of explore with when you get new players in. You have to run the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're running it for a club or something like that, it's difficult to kind of when you're soon because I'm not someone who wants to ever run a first person. If you run it for the first time, it has to be Trouble Brewing. But a lot of people want to go, oh, there's these really cool, fun characters. It's like, yeah, but we have to run the basic script because otherwise it's too complicated.
But the basic script is cool. It's like the base game of other things. It's like, well, at the end of the day, we know that Trouble Brewing is going to produce a good game, fun for most people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a laugh. And actually, sometimes the best games that we've played have been Trouble Brewing because it's comfortable. Everybody knows the script. Everybody knows the interactions between the characters.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad thing.
No, exactly. It just makes you a better player.
And I love it. And if you haven't played it, go play it because it's great.
Message me, DM me on Get Into the Games.
Come join our games.
Come and join our games. So we can always do it with more people. So if anyone wants to play, they can come along and play online with me, and I'll storytell, and I'll make sure that you suffer.
And you'll probably be the demon because most people are if it's their first time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like Nanda.
Yeah.
In real life.
Oh man. Anyway,
so your number one.
My number one is Everdell. It's still number one. It was number one before. It's number one now. Okay, hello. You wanted to join in, did you? Okay.
Sorry, that's the cat.
You are Cat into Games, just there. Yeah, my number one is Everdell. It is, to me, it's a game that will just, like Thunder Clock Tower for you, it will just always make me feel good. If anyone ever says you want to play it, I say yes. It just really just fills my tum-tum with warm feelings.
Oh, fuzzy feelings.
Fuzzy feelings. Is it the best mechanically, is it the best game ever made? Probably not. Is it balanced at all player counts? Maybe not. Does it take too long at higher player counts? Maybe not. With all the expansions, is there too many cards to get through? Probably. But there's something about diving into the world that Andrew Bosley has made with the artwork and James Wilson and everyone that have designed it and created it. Is it that world brings you in and you are in that world for an hour, however long you're playing the game for. You are in there. You're not thinking about other things. You're thinking about how your critters are working together, learning the deck. And I think people who play it once or twice, they don't get it. Sometimes they hate it. And it's one of those things. It's one of those games that's it's a fan favorite to dislike. It's like not liking Stonemaier games. It's like, oh, I'm cool because I don't like Stonemaier games. Yeah, of course you are. You're really cool. Something's universally loved.
People can have their own opinion, Craig.
Oh yeah.
Craig!
I'm allowed my own opinion.
You are catty today.
I'm not catty, I'm just asleep. No. And I think you need to learn the cards and how they play off together to get the best out of it. Knowing like all deck building kind of tableau building, knowing the cards and how the cards play off with each other and work with each other is always going to be to your benefit. But yeah, it's just it's a really
changing
good game.
Up which expansions we add on. So
yeah.
What's the one at the bottom? Good.
Spirecrest.
Yeah, I like that journey through the
mountains.
Yeah, I like that. Sometimes I like adding the train.
New Leaf is it's a very New Leaf and Spirecrest are two of the best expansions. I like New Leaf because it puts more cards out, so you get through the deck quicker. I do find myself using when playing Everdell now, wanting to use the Far Shore
rule.
rule of just if you've got two of the same, you just pile them up rather than have two of the same in the meadow. I think that's just a good general good rule to have in the game.
But sometimes I know Farshaw's further down, but sometimes if I fancy Everdell, but I just fancy mixing it up, I'll play Farshaw. Like,
yeah, I mean for me, Farshaw
how
was 17.
Yeah, you know how it plays. It's
which I don't know why Farshaw was so far much further down, because fundamentally it's the same game.
I think it's just because we haven't played it as much, and the boats are way too big. I think
the boats are huge. The boats are completely unnecessary.
We played it with Games with Beanie, and we all had a boat, obviously, but 4 boats on the side of the board just don't fit.
Yeah,
you might as well just had your little meeple. It would have been easier, but anyway.
Yeah,
that's just a tiny thing. Anyway, so that was our top 10s.
Yeah, so that was our top 10. So do you want to rattle off your 10 again, just so everyone knows?
So, Art Project, Scythe, Planet Unknown, Chai, Everdell, Lost Ruins of Arnak, Expeditions, Distilled, Viticulture, and Blood on the Clock Tower.
And mine were After Us, Distilled, Scythe, Raiders of the North Sea, Expeditions, Lost Ruins of Arnak, Viticulture, The Art Project, Blood on the Clock Tower, and Everdell. You could say I'd like worker placement games, I guess, looking at those 10.
We had 8 of the same games on our top 10.
Yeah, wow, it's like we live together.
Do we?
No, I don't know. No, I'm not entirely convinced.
Right, shall we crack on with some board
game
menus?
Go from 50. Oh, yes, board game menus.
No, that's for anybody who wants the expanded version.
The expanded version will just be on Instagram. I need 50 days worth of content.
Susie from Games with Beanie, she went with a cat-style board game menu.
Oh, yes.
I think especially for cat into games.
Meow, meow, meow.
Her starter was Mlem.
Mlem.
Her main was Isle of Cats, and then her dessert was Boop.
Nice. Boop is the best.
Then we've got Lee Meets 613. Is that right?
Yes.
Her starter was Unlock, the main was Decorum, and the dessert was Flip Over Frog.
Yes.
And then we've got Better Mood Board Games. The starter was Scout, the main was Obsession, and the dessert was Patchwork. And then our friend James did one. I don't know if he's on Instagram.
He does have an Instagram, but he doesn't use it. Is Axia official or something like that?
Okay. His starter was Akatoa, which is a critical role game.
Yeah.
And then
worker placement.
Nemesis as the main, and then Sushi Go as the dessert.
Yes.
But we need more board game menus.
More menus, please send them in. Either send them in as a message to me, or send them in as a voice memo, and we'll get your lovely tones on the podcast too, because it's always good to have more tones on the podcast. I find
we like tones.
Lovely tones and tomes and other things.
The Tome Saga.
But that is us. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sending lovely words and messages to us.
Yeah.
Thank you for leaving 5-star reviews. And 5 stars and reviews and 5 stars. Remember that? 5 stars, everyone. Thank you so much for doing that. That all will help the podcast with its algorithm, reaching more ears. The most important thing you can do to help us grow is to water us daily.
Please don't water me.
Share.
Just Craig.
Share with a friend. Water me, please. Share with a friend. And get them to listen to this board game podcast, because you know that's the right thing to do.
And
remember,
get into
games.